first Nationwide Series event ever at this beautiful facility, and this race is green.
A number of the double-duty drivers starting at the back of the field.
Here's Kyle Busch plowing his way to the front of the field.
That 33 car is flat on the move.
As the battle for the lead is on it too.
Go, come on.
Kevin Harvick in the 33 is behind the wall in the garage.
Caution is out.
There's a car up into the wall in turn number 2.
We can't give up track position. I can't beat them if I do the same thing they do.
Oh, Keselowski stays out, thanks everybody.
Well, it could be a sitting duck or it could be a stroke of genius.
Busch just to the point here in Iowa.
88 car getting his nose underneath Kyle Busch. It's not over. It's a drag race.
The 88 of Brad Keselowski with a second win and an inaugural win at Iowa.
Oh, yeah!
And for Brad Keselowski, 1 week ago, with the Dash for Cash bonus, the largest single payday in Nationwide Series history, just under $155,000. And the good news for Brad, he was also the fastest of the Nationwide regulars in final practice. The tough news is we've got a lot of double-duty drivers. We'll explain more. Take a look at the other bonus. He picked up 20 more points in the championship chase on Kyle Busch. There he is in third. This is still Kyle's championship to lose. Second in now 9 straight races. Let's talk to some of the double-duty drivers and the road course experts. You have to here. Watkins Glen, 3 in the Nationwide Series, 2 in the Camping World Truck Series. And of course, Marcus Ambrose made his name for his first time in the Nationwide Series. In both Andy with us yesterday, traditional Cup.
Different because usually these guys would pull out a pill to see when they go out to qualify. Today they actually earn that. We'll go. There's 9. They're going to go out. They'll do the slowest cars going first. Hopefully a pole run at and it's a little different, but the drivers.
It's just a lot of fun. Yeah, and some less pressure. 5-minute time slot, you're going to get 3 to 4 laps on the racetrack. If you have to mess up a corner on one of the laps, you can come back and still get in a good qualifying effort. So I think the drivers look at this as something different, fun. They're experimenting a little bit, and some guys are going to be able to see and tell a little bit about their car.
Well, and it's really big and important for Jason Leffler. If you were not with us at practice yesterday, watch what happened coming out of turn number 9. The 38 Great Clips Toyota just powered. Luckily, the tire barrier able to turn a lap. So now the question is, what kind of car do they have? Dave Burns, you're up.
Marty, understand how hard they worked on this. They stayed a half hour late after the garage closed. They got caught in Grand Am race traffic at this track. They didn't get back to their hotel till 10:30 at night. The 4 a.m. wake-up call came because they were allowed to come in a half hour early today for the 6 o'clock garage opening. They've changed basically everything on this car back to the way the original was. And for Jason Leffler, it's a matter of shaking this thing down in the qualifying run. Now, remember when we talked to him after he was released from the medical center, he said this car will finish the race. Not a grand endorsement, but remember, in road course racing, sometimes it's just about staying on the track. Jamie Little?
Well, Dave, we're going to pick it up. Jamie's having a bit of an issue with her audio pack. We'll get that corrected. What we'll do is step aside for a commercial break. You can see the cars in the first group getting ready to roll on this 2.45-mile track. We'll show you what Watkins Glen looks like when we come back. Back here at Watkins Glen International, and we understand we did have some transmission difficulties, not just with Jamie's audio pack, but also from our signal here, and we've got those corrected. We apologize for that, but from here on out, the picture should be crisp and clear, and the audio should be right there alongside. So as we get ready for this first group to qualify, let's now bring in Jamie Little.
Well, Marty, what an exciting qualifying show we're about to witness here. Now, what the Nationwide Series here that the Cup Series doesn't is they qualify in groups. There's 9 different groups. The first 3 3 will have 6 drivers. The remaining 6 will have 5 drivers. Now, how they were seated is according to first practice yesterday. Slowest drivers go out first. The fastest drivers go out last. So basically, the final group right here, you'll have Greg Biffle, you'll have Robbie Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch racing each other for potentially the pole in today's race. Now, they get 5 minutes on the clock from the time they roll out. That'll give them about 4 laps around this racetrack. Not every driver is going to take all 4 laps. So as soon as they roll here to pit road, their session is over. So basically, we're getting some racing here today for qualifying, Marty.
It is going to be fun to watch, and we want to show you the difference in Watkins Glen. If you were with us here when IndyCar was racing here about a month ago, as we look down from Google Earth, you can see that this is actually a 3.4-mile layout when you include what's known as the boot right there, and you can see it's in the shape of a boot. That's how it's got its nickname. Now, we change it for NASCAR and cut off the boot, and it makes it 2.45 miles, DJ.
Yeah, well, let's take a lap around turn 1 high braking area. That's going to take us over to turn 2 and start us up through the S's. Very fast part of the racetrack. You have to carry a lot of speed down the backstretch, headed up to the bus stop or interloop, or it's called a lot of things, and some of the things we can't tell you about that the drivers call it. But as you get around turn 9, a lot of speed that you're carrying here to turn 10, fast left-hand corner that you have to be careful. There's a gravel pit right there. You don't want to end up in there. You get your car marred up in there and can't get out. Probably going to lose a lap. Turn 11 is a hard right-hand corner that's going to lead us back to the start-finish line.
Let's take a look at that is turn 1. You can see the elevation changes here at the Glen, and there are a lot of blind spots. There is the fastest section, and boy, that Armco on driver's right gets very scary sometimes. In fact, double file restarts later today are going to be interesting up through there. The backstretch to what we were just talking about, the bus stop chicane, the interloop, and all those things that you didn't want to tell them they call it. And if you do go off there, as well as in turn number 11, so you got 10. You've got the gravel trap there.
A few birds in the way right there. They'll get scattered real quick. But you come down this straightaway. This is a shorter straightaway to this hard left-hand turn, 90-degree left. Look at all this gravel, and it's narrow right there. That's not a lot of racetrack to work with. You don't want to run that right rear off in the grass, or you will wind up in here. Yeah, and you get that corner, and you have to downshift there. You get the car wheel hopping. It's pretty high braking area. You have basically 3 high braking areas, that being the last one. And if you get it wheel hopping, you're going to end up in that, and not a lot of fun.
Well, we've got a road course specialist in the first group, and they did not have a good first practice yesterday. Dave Burns has caught up with Michael McDowell's team.
Yep, and that's why they're in the first group, Marty. Michael will be one of the guys who is the first to take on this track and just see what the conditions are like. Remember what the issue is for McDowell. He fulfilled his commitments at JTG Doherty Racing. He then ran 3 races for Randy McDonald's team, and now he's run 2 races in a row with the Bob Keselowski team. Brian Keselowski stepping out of the driver's seat to work on the pit box. And last week, they had a fantastic finish, a top 10 and 8th place finish, and it's about keeping the points alive for this young driver.
Yeah, in fact, Bob Keselowski said he took a top 15 car to an 8th place run. He said he drove the wheels off of it, and it'll be fun to see. He was 28th in the final practice yesterday, so he should be real good in this first group. And there they are. It'll be Ken Butler, McDowell, Darrell Haar, Scott Gaylord, Brett Rowe, and Sean Murphy.
Yeah, I was over in the garage area in one of the parts trailers. I saw Bob Keselowski over there rounding up parts, trying to make this car a little better road race car. He's a hard-working guy, man.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they weren't really prepared as far as a road race car itself, but they have a road race driver, and they want to give him the best equipment that they can, because Michael McDowell can get the job done.
And we're about to see just how good he can do in that number 26 as he rolls out to the...
You can see these guys are separated. There's a length of time that each one is given to go out there. The clock actually doesn't start until the first car takes the green flag.
And that's approximately 4 seconds they separate these cars. And if everything, you see the birds scattered now. I knew they wouldn't stay there long. That gives them enough room unless somebody has a problem, runs off the racetrack. It should get the spacing correct so you can run a fast lap if you happen to be faster than the guy in front of you.
Yeah, most of the guys are going to give a little extra time themselves just to make sure they don't run up on that car.
Now the clock officially starts the minute the first car comes across the start-finish line this time by. So the 31 right now of Darrell Haar, first car out, and he's already heading for turn 11. So the clock is about to begin.
Yeah, and we have a cool racetrack this morning. It got down in the 40s here last night. There was a race yesterday, Grand Am race yesterday evening. It's a little different rubber, but I think that rubber will probably only help these guys for the track to be a little bit more sticky, and then the cool temperature. So these guys have the opportunity to post some really good laps.
little bit of smoke there. He kind of locks up that right front tire, that inside front. As they go into that turn one, it unloads that right side, and if you're not careful, you can slide that tire.
And it is really important to understand these first group. A lot of these guys are going to be in that go or go home category. So we won't know exactly when until the last groups go and who's going to be falling out. But this is important right now. And here's Daryl Haar, the 27-year-old, into the bus stop chicane.
He is one of those go or go home cars. So he's very motivated to make a good lap here.
Well, he competes in the NASCAR Camping World West Series. He's 22nd in the points right now with just 4 starts there this year.
Yeah, these guys are looking, their first lap's probably not going to be their fastest because they've got the air pressure down just a little bit. It gives them a chance to kind of get in the rhythm here, and then either their second or possibly the third lap, but most of the time we're going to see the second lap be the quickest for all of these guys.
You see a lot of tape on the grill. You'll see that on most of these cars, and some of them may not be able to run the whole 5-minute session. They'll tape them up so they can get that extra speed and maybe only run 2 laps or 3 laps instead of the 4.
So now we've got our first official time, and the speed was 114.5, a minute 6.9. It's going to get a lot quicker than that. Let's check in with Brett Rowe, the 42-year-old from Barbersville, West Virginia, as he's completed his first lap at 112.9 miles an hour.
Nope, gets a little over that hump right there. They have a little runoff area, but if you go over that curbing, it costs you a little bit of time.
Yeah, you just can't get back to the throttle, plus you're making the racetrack even longer than it is already.
There's Daryl Haar. Again, we're going to keep an eye on him through turn 9 here, as see if he can turn a quicker lap here on lap 2.
Well, you can see here he's about 3/10, 4/10, now about a second actually faster than his. No, he's actually been beaten now. We've got Michael McDowell that's posted a time of 74.74 seconds.
Yeah, which is a good lap. The fast lap yesterday was a minute 13 seconds. So you can see that Michael McDowell's a minute 14. So he's already put down a really good lap.
And there is McDowell. Yeah, a minute 14.7 on this first lap at 118 miles an hour.
They made a lot of gains on this car since yesterday. Like you said, Michael McDowell's a great road racer.
Well, he's a veteran of Champ Car. He drove for Paul Gentilozzi. He's also run the Daytona prototypes in the Rolex Grand Am Series. Star Mazda. There is Brian Keselowski, who has really done a fine job of crew chief in this car last week, and then getting this car back together for this qualifying effort after they had to go, as you said, scrounge up some parts.
You can see Michael's a little slower on his second lap here, but they may have upped the air pressure, thinking that that first lap on the stickers was going to be their best.
And there's Sean Murphy, as he's come across the line for his second lap. He's third right now in this group, 113.4 miles an hour at a minute 17. McDowell is still the guy to beat out of this first group.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in this group is going to beat Michael McDowell. We may have to wait for a group or two. You see the 81 car slowing down now. If he's got a problem, or he's already posted the third fastest out of these 5 cars or 6 cars. And here comes Michael McDowell. This is the thing you really worry about if you're trying to make that fast lap. And you see Michael McDowell's on a faster lap, so didn't want this car to hold him up.
Yeah, it would have been nice if the 81 would have pulled to the inside and let him carry the momentum. Boy, he is flogging it through the bus stop chicane.
You can see here he's 4/10 quicker than his fastest lap that he's posted, so he's got a better lap going. Good looking lap too.
That's out of turn 9. That's where Leffler had his shunt yesterday. Heading down to 10.
Yeah, he's on a pace that would have actually put him in the top 15 yesterday in the final practice session.
He's going to lower that lap time here if he gets to his last couple turns. We got another.
Brett Rowe got real wide, we're being told, out of turn 1. We're checking to see if he's got any damage going up over that curbing. Doesn't look like there's any problem. Let's go back and show you what happened to him.
Oh yeah, it just gets in there too hot, too wide. Can't slow it down. You can see he's locked up the brakes. Nice save, actually.
That is. That's nice. That's a nice save. Now he knows how hard he can go in that corner or not go.
In fact, he went so wide he didn't come close to the curbing. But it was a nice save. All right, Michael McDowell is cooling his jets a little bit. But boy, he's just turned another good lap. He's down to a minute 14.15 seconds. That's 118.9 miles an hour. He has a second and a half over the second fastest car in this first group.
Well, it's a really nice effort they made in working on the car and getting it up to really the talents of Michael McDowell.
Sean Murphy now. He's actually born in Auckland, New Zealand. Fort Lauderdale is his home here in the States. Made his Nationwide Series debut last week at Iowa. Started 38th and finished 27th.
Just trying to kind of get his feet wet in this series and get some experience in driving these cars.
Well, he won the ASA Late Model Series Memorial Rookie of the Year title, named after Pat Bordeaux back in '07. And he's been running the Late Model Challenge Series quite a bit. Coming down to post another lap as the clock continues to wind down here. You can see the checker flag is out, and it's going to keep him third behind Haar and McDowell.
Now you see Gaylord coming across the line, finish his lap.
Gaylord not able to improve. McDowell comes across. So it is Michael McDowell who is fastest out of this group. Now again, we won't know as far as the go or go homers as to how they will finish and who will be sent packing until much later in this qualifying session. There they are from first to sixth. The first group is done here at Watkins Glen. Group 2 when we come back.
NASCAR Nationwide Series Final Practice, brought to you by Dave & Buster's, Feed Your Fun, and Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR.
Just some of the beautiful scenery here in the Finger Lake region of New York as we're Watkins Glen International. And our first group of 9 has just taken all their qualifying times in the 5-minute session allotted to them. And as we've got a moment waiting for Group 2 to go out, let's talk about what's going to happen on the motorsports calendar. Of course, later today at 2:30 Eastern, right here on ESPN2, we'll have the 22nd stop on the Nationwide Series, and happy hour at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN2 for the Sprint Cup Series. And then the race here at Watkins Glen tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN. NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy. 2 times you got to remember tomorrow, 10 a.m., 10 p.m. That gets you tuned in on the latest news. And then on Monday, presented by the Home Depot, NASCAR Now at 5 Eastern for the weekly roundtable discussion on ESPN2. And let's talk to the man who was fastest in that first group, Michael McDowell. Jamie Little.
Well, I have to mention how cool it is out here right now. The air is crisp. You guys went out first group, fastest so far. How do you think you'll benefit from that?
Well, yesterday in practice we weren't able to get a lap done in the first practice, so we had to start in the first group. But I don't know, the cooler weather, I think it'll stay pretty consistent for qualifying. But it was fun out there. You know, it's road course racing is a lot of fun, and you get to hustle the car around quite a bit. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll be somewhere in the top 20 with that effort. And just thank K Automotive and Brian Keselowski and the Keselowski family for putting me in.
Does this format help you get an idea how your car is going to be and what you guys need to adjust on before the race today?
Well, we were really struggling yesterday in practice, so we made a lot of adjustments. I think we changed all 4 springs in both bars. So, it's one of those things we didn't know what we had going in qualifying, but car worked a lot better. It was a lot better up the S's, so I think it'll be better for the race.
More time for feedback, and that hopefully will help some of these guys for the race. Marty?
Well, his time yesterday in final practice, that would have been good enough for 15th fastest overall.
Yeah, that was really impressive that they made all of those changes and got the car that good. See our second group getting ready to start here.
Brad Baker, Eric McClure, Antonio Perez, Danny O'Quinn, Matt Carter, Tom Hubert. And the clock is now running. Dave Burns, what do you have?
I have Jason Leffler, who's walking up the grid now to get in that 38 car. The crew kind of told me the hours they've kept this weekend. I know they worked hard on it. What do you expect when you go out to qualify, Jason?
I don't know, but you got to run hard because you'll never know what the car is going to do. So the guys, they worked late last night, early this morning, and they worked really hard on that other car that's now destroyed. So they're doing a great job for me, and they're a strong team. So I got a lot of confidence going in here. I just need to keep it on the road, like I said earlier. And all in all, I feel like I've been run over by a truck, but other than that, everything's good.
All right, he got good sleep, but a little soreness you can hear after that big wreck yesterday, guys.
Hey, it was huge contact, and glad to see that he's okay, except for some sore, aching muscles. Take a look at Matt Carter as Matt right now getting ready to clock in on his second lap. Or actually his first lap, and it's almost 2 seconds off of the best time so far.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for anybody in these first.
Hang on.
Getting a little loose right there. That's a pretty good lap that McDowell put down, and these guys are probably in this group not going to be able to beat that lap. Here's Tom Hubert coming into the frame now. He should be one of the faster cars in this group.
Yeah, Tom has a lot of road racing experience. He's run some cup races and things for different people, and is a really good road racer.
Danny O'Quinn in the 01 car. Right now, O'Quinn has moved into the number 4 spot. Hubert clocked in at the number 2 position right now at 117.4. And now this is combined with the first group. That's what we're giving you as these groups continue to run. There's Brad Baker making his way down the front straightaway, and he has now just moved himself into the 4th position. 23-year-old Antonio Perez from south of the border, Telmex sponsorship, and he jumps to the number 2 position, guys, with his first lap.
He's in that 74-second range. He gets in there at 74.95, about 0.8 of a second off of Michael McDowell's fast lap. See Eric McClure getting a little bit loose, getting in the corner there.
Seen that out of quite a few of these cars.
Eric 11th out of the 12 cars that have taken times now. Makes his way up through the S's. Looks like Antonio Perez might be the guy for us to watch here in the early going. Boy, he is clipping the curbs through the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, he's a really good road racer out of Mexico. A lot of credentials coming into this. Has run a few of these races. He's got a really good pace going here. He's going to get close to McDowell if he can keep this up.
He's the 08 NASCAR Mexico Series champion, and he set a NASCAR Camping World East Series qualifying track record here at the Glen in 08, finishing 10th in that race. So he has some experience here at Watkins Glen.
Good looking lap. Getting through this corner really good.
This is going to possibly put him down in the 73-second bracket here.
And it moves him to the number 1 spot ahead of Michael McDowell. And you're right, a minute 13.7. And here's Tom Hubert. Now, it's been quite a while since Hubert actually ran a Nationwide Series of race. I think it was all the way back in 2001, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was Lowe's back in October of 2001.
He's trying to knock some of the rust off and get used to these cars, and a lot of things have changed about these cars since then.
Well, he's run here twice before in the series at Watkins Glen. His best start was 14th back in 2000. His best finish was 28th in 01. And Hubert right now 3rd. At a minute 14.6 behind Antonio Perez and Michael McDowell. A little wide there.
Hey, these guys are being able to take advantage of a really cool racetrack this morning, temperature-wise, and I think that it's really benefiting Perez and McDowell as they are able to post some fast laps here. That as it heats up, these other guys won't be able to take advantage of that. So we watch Danny O'Quinn now on the track.
O'Quinn is 6th fastest overall.
He raced once here in the Nationwide Series, qualifying 28th back in 06, finished 25th in that race. And right now he is 6th fastest of the 12 cars that have taken time so far. Checking back in on Antonio Perez as he's heading up through.
Looks like he's off the throttle a little bit. I think he's going to rest on that fast lap he set of 73.77.
Yeah, he slowed down on his 3rd lap to like 74.48, so basically about 0.7 of a second, and he just called it quits here. That's what they can do.
Matt Carter has taken the checkered flag for his final lap. He is 4th right now out of the 12 cars. So this second group, the time has expired. Boy, you know, you talked about Antonio Perez. That would have put him 9th yesterday in the final practice. So again, we're seeing some great times out of some cars that we really didn't expect to see maybe that much. Tom Hubert is finished. There is Antonio making his way slowly around, standing on that minute 13. He's going to have a big smile on his face because this was a very, very good lap.
Yeah, that's going to, we can't say that it absolutely is going to lock him in yet, but I think he's in pretty good position that he's going to have a nice starting spot for this race this afternoon.
I think you're right, Dale. This track is in great condition to be qualifying. These early cars actually getting a break going out early.
And there's Eric McClure. One thing I want to touch on here, based on first practice sessions, Marcus Ambrose was not as quick as he was in the final practice. He's going to be in Group 5, and he's going to have the advantage, I think, over the guys that are 4 groups later.
The great point, Marty. That's exactly right, because the track's just going to continue to heat up some, so Marcus has got himself in a good spot.
Well, this is how this group of 6 fares in the total picture. Perez is first, Hubert third, all the way down to Eric McClure in the 8th position. So 12 cars have taken official times. Group 3 when we come back to the Glen. The third group of qualifiers for the NASCAR Nationwide Series event to be held later today here at the Glen is on track. They've just taken the green flag. In the group, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Chris Cook, Tony Raines, Mark Green, J.R. Fitzpatrick, and Peyton Sellers. And there is the man who was first out that started the clock, just about ready to complete his first lap, the 34 of Tony Raines.
Tony's been in the series for quite a while. Had a lot of good runs. Don't know that he considers road racing to be one of his specialties.
But in 2 of his 3 starts here at the Glen, he's had top 15 finishes, and he already moves himself into the number 8 slot. Coming through on the clock there is Mark Green. Mark right behind Tony Raines in the 9. J.R. Fitzpatrick, the 21-year-old from up in Cambridge, Ontario. That's just a suburb of Toronto. Had a chance to talk to him yesterday. He's done a lot of racing up there, and big opportunity for him. He wants to do well.
Yeah, this is a Kevin Harvick incorporated car, and Rick Wren is his crew chief this weekend, which is Ron Hornaday's crew chief on the Camping World Truck Series.
You mean that guy who's won 5 truck races
that
in a row?
same one.
Yeah, there you go.
He ought to have a good car and a good team behind him this weekend.
Well, he's already clocked the 3rd fastest lap of all the cars in the 18 that have now taken to the track.
He's got a good lap going here, too. See, as he goes through the bus stop area, starts to exit down to turn 9. Long sweeping corner here. Really have to be in the throttle a lot. He's a little wider there than I think he would maybe want to be, but looked like he was able to stay in the throttle. Still picking up time over his previous lap.
He's had 2 other Nationwide Series starts. They were both on road courses, Mexico City and Montreal. His best start was 33rd, and he finished 33rd back in Mexico City in 07.
Yeah, really solid lap. He could possibly get down in that 73-second bracket right here also.
Comes across the stripe. Can he move it up? And he does, to the number 2 position, right behind Antonio Perez. And only by a 1/10 of a second. And speaking of Antonio, Jamie Little's caught up with him.
He's patiently watching to see if anybody's going to be able to knock him off. Big improvement from your time yesterday in practice, Antonio. What was the biggest change?
The biggest change is that our car is brand new, so we are having worked pretty hard in the weekend, and I think it's going to be better every time that we go out to the track.
First time with this team, brand new car. They're just making improvements on it. And hey, this is what NASCAR wanted, Marty. They wanted a different provisional pole sitter each run.
And they're getting it so far. I mean, it's been very interesting. Reminds me a lot of knockout qualifying, like at Formula One, what they're doing in the IndyCar when they're on the street and road courses. And it keeps the excitement and the drama building as you get to the faster cars near the end. Peyton Sellers is the man you're looking at right now from Danville, Virginia. And Dave Reef, you've got more, or Dave Burns.
Little drag racing lingo there for you, Marty Reed. That's okay. Hey, Peyton Sellers is in his 7th of 11 starts he's going to make in the Nationwide Series this year. And one of the biggest adjustments from his Camping World Series runs is the radial tire over bias ply. And his crew told me this morning that, to Peyton's surprise, the difference is more exaggerated on this track. The grippy feeling he gets from the bias ply tires on an oval sometimes leads to a gets away from you feeling on the radial tire. And Peyton told his crew, man, I feel it much more here on the road course. DJ, what do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely a huge difference in the way that you get a feel with that. You get a lot more roll with with the bi-split tire, and you have to really be careful with these. You can get a lot of grip with the radial tire, but whenever it gets ready to lose that grip, then you find yourself out of control. And Peyton Sellers was one yesterday that we saw spin as he entered turn 10.
Whoa, Jeffrey Earnhardt having a little tough time through turn 1.
Well, he just made this 2.45 track about 2.6 right there. You don't want to make it any longer.
Coming out of turn 10, we're told he had a bit of a moment as well. Let's take a look. Whoa.
Whoa, whoa now.
Tell you what, these
be
guys
looking at those tires there if he's not careful.
He makes some nice saves with these. See him locking up the fronts a little bit here. He's just trying to carry that speed and let the car roll. But
I talked to Jeffrey, and he has some experience on this track in the Camping World East Series, but it is on the different tire, and I think he might have a little adjustment period here with this tire and this car on this track.
Checkered flag is out for group number 3, and that is the 4 of J.R. Fitzpatrick. He remains in the number 2 position behind Antonio Perez. You can see his time and speed right there. Peyton Sellers also comes across. He actually moves up to the 9th position with that last lap. That's Terry Cook. He's moved into the number 5 spot, or Chris Cook, I'm sorry, in the number 90 car.
Chris Cook is a former instructor for Bob Bondurant School.
Yeah.
He's had some really good students in that school, too.
I don't know if he'd claim me as one of them. I actually didn't get it from there, but worked with him later on. We actually hired him when I was at Robert Yates Racing to do some work with us, and just a really good instructor. Knows a lot about driving the cars, so it was a lot of fun to work with.
All right, now this is how they finished in the 6 that were on the track and where they are overall, with J.R. Patrick leading the way 2nd overall and Tony Raines 12th out of the 18 cars that have taken times. Group 4 has just taken the track. They're finishing up their warm-up lap. You haven't missed a thing here at the Glen, and here are the 5 cars that are in Group 4. In fact, you made a mention, DJ, if we'd have put Steven in here, it would have been the Wallace clan. We could have had everybody out at the same time. We promised to tell you the 5 that have locked in: Antonio Perez, J.R. Fitzpatrick, Tom Hubert, Chris Cook, Mark Green. Those 5 have been locked in of the go or go home group. Right now, the 2 that are most vulnerable, Scott Gaylord and Brett Rowe. And that was Michael Wallace in the 0 car. He has just moved into the number 16 spot. Jason Keller right behind him crosses the stripe. And he has moved into the number 9 position provisionally.
Yeah, good lap for Jason Keller in that first one. See Mike Wallace, he's going to need a little more speed.
Looking to make his 335th start in the Nationwide Series. And as we take a look at the 07 of Mr. Chris Sikaris, a 29-year-old from Howell, Michigan. Right now, he is the fastest in this group, apparently, as well, he turned a lap at minute 15.6.
He's on pace to pick that up quite a bit here, get himself in that 74-second range. A nice exit of turn.
Chris, a veteran road racer. He's run the Daytona Prototypes and the Rolex Sports Car Series and the SCCA Pro Series. Finished 5th in the 04 Cooper Tire Championship. And as he comes across the stripe, Zakaris, no improvement there. And coming behind him is Jason Keller. And Jason moves to the fastest of this group, up into the number 8 position overall, a minute 14.8.
Jason Keller has a lot of starts on road courses in this series, 14. And Morgan Shepherd now moves up into the top 5.
So a great run for Morgan going. And remember, Morgan's a former winner here at the Glen. So as Jason comes on through, he's still on a good lap. Morgan is now number 5, and here he comes. 67 years old. Somebody told me yesterday they were hoping they would be able to back out of their driveway at 67.
He's still getting the job done every week. Comes out here, works hard during the week to get this car ready, and obviously has a lot of road racing skills over the years. He's done extremely well. Remember racing with him at Road Atlanta in this series.
As he makes his way down towards turn 10, Jamie Little's caught up with Jeffrey Earnhardt.
Well, we have an Earnhardt guaranteed in the field as this team he's driving for, Key Motorsports, sits 23rd. Jeffrey, last year you ran the Camping World Ace, finished second. How different is this car with this tire here?
It's a little different. It took me a little bit to get used to it. Took me myself a little while to get back in the swing of things, but it's been a while since I've been on a road course. But these cars, I mean, there's not a whole lot of difference. You know, the horsepower is not as big because of the plate they got on that. Biggest thing is the tires, just getting used to that radial tire. You know, they got a certain point where you can't cross that point or else you just lose it. And then with the bisplat, you know, they're more forgiving. But it's a lot of fun. I'm starting to get the hang of it. You know, qualifying went a little better than practice, so it seems like each time we go out, I just get better and better. So hopefully we'll get in the race and just run our race, keep the nose clean, and keep her on the track, and we'll be good at the end.
All right, big day for the grandson of the late, great Dale Earnhardt Sr. making his debut in the Nationwide Series.
And he does look an awful lot like Dad Kerry, doesn't he? As we zero in on the 28 of Kenny Wallace, he has moved to the fastest of this group and up to the number 4 spot, guys. Kenny giving this one a good hustle.
Yeah, he's had a couple of good weeks in a row, too, so they're building off of some momentum that they've had and getting the job done here. So nice lap, 74.46.
Yeah, you see some water blowing out the overflow right there, some steam, actually. So this might be Kenny's last lap.
Well, the clock has expired. The checker flag should be coming out this time. You mentioned the fact he's had 2 good runs in a row. It's the first time since 2005 he's had 2 top 10 finishes in a row. Morgan Shepherd comes across the line. He is 8th right now. Kenny right behind him, as you mentioned, puffing a little steam. Does he improve at all? No. He'll stay in the number 4 position, but a good qualifying run.
P4 right now. Good job, buddy.
Jason Keller is 5th overall. And Zakaris will move into the 7th position, right ahead of Morgan Shepherd.
So a few more shots fired at Antonio Perez, and he's still atop the sheet.
Yeah, but 4 of the 5 of that group are all in the top 8, so pretty good group.
Take a look. Overall, the 5 cars, Kenny, Jason, and Chris, as well as Morgan Shepherd, currently in the top 10. Mike Wallace in 13th. We told you that Marcus Ambrose might have an advantage because of where he's going to run. Well, we're going to find out because he's coming out. And Jason Leffler, what will that backup car look like? They're up next, as is Jill.
Keselowski's looking in his mirror, looking at Harvick.
Man, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I'm sorry. I really screwed up.
The way to win the race is you got to have enough fuel to make the car finish.
5 to go, then you can go after him again. Gonna be gone. We're gonna be out of gas. Gone then.
Caution, that's it.
That's it. Race is over.
Marcus Ambrose goes to victory lane for the first time in his career at Watkins Glen.
And speaking of Marcus Ambrose, there he is out on track on his warm-up lap as he is in Group 5 along with Jason Leffler, Brendan Gaughan, Justin Allgaier, and Michael Annett. And all that action was from last year's race. That's what we're expecting at 2:30 this afternoon when we're back with you. And fuel and brakes will be the 2 topics you'll hear us talking an awful lot about. Jason Leffler, boy, what a day he has had in the last 24 hours. Let's take you back to yesterday.
Just coming out of turn 9, you see the car get loose. He hits the tire barrier that separates that fence. See how much damage it does to the car. Just tore it to pieces. Had to bring out the backup, Andy.
Yeah, he's going to have to be very careful in this qualifying session, too, because this is his backup, and he doesn't have another one. So, you know, he needs to try to go fast, but at the same time, he's got to be careful and stay on the racetrack.
He's locked in. So, yeah, this is basically let's check for leaks. Let's get the car set as best we can and then go race. Right now, Marcus Ambrose wants to establish a benchmark, and we're getting a track temperature because we want to compare it to later on because the sun is really starting to cook here at the Glen.
Yeah, it's an advantage for him to be the first car out in this session, too. He doesn't have to worry about anybody being out in front of him. He can take advantage of a really clean racetrack and go get what he can.
Yeah, he got real loose getting into 1 right there. He's got some tape on the grill you see there, but he's got a decent opening. He's going to try to run more than 1 or 2 laps here. He's got enough opening that he can probably run this session out.
Well, if you were with Dr. Jerry Punch and the guys yesterday, you know that he qualified 4th for the Cup race. Last year, he started 43rd and finished 3rd. So with a much better starting position, he's going to be a factor in the Cup race tomorrow as well.
Yeah, you can also see some openings on his brake ducts down there too. They're going to use a lot of brake in this stage, so you go out there and you could literally, if you had them taped up, you could mess them up in one lap, and they do have to race. The other thing we have to watch out for, we've seen a few guys lock up these brakes, Andy, and as they flat spot these tires, they have to really be careful because they have to start on these.
They have to start the race on this set of tires, and if they flat spot it to a point where they have to change it, they would have to go to the rear. You can see he's got a great lap going so far. Marcus Ambrose does.
Yeah, we saw some of these guys early on that really were locking up the brakes. I'm sure they'll be looking at that. They can change that. But look at this lap. Marcus Ambrose is getting ready to lay down on these guys.
Oh, my.
Wow.
He just moves to number 1 by a ton, by a second and a half.
You call him in now?
No. No, you got some fast cars going behind him, and I would like to try to see what this car would do if he could run a little faster. Dave?
And a 1:13.32. Ron Fellows, would you like any part of that based on how the 5 car's been running?
Yes. I think.
Good answer.
Yeah, I think we did 13.0 yesterday, and we're going to have to get into the 12s, I'm sure, to get a pole. I'm not sure what Marcus did, but he'll certainly be a good benchmark for.
That was his time. So that was his time. That was Marcus's time, a 73.32. So,
okay.
But he's got a couple more laps out there to go. How's the handling been on your car? You were fastest in final practice.
Yeah, we're pretty good. You know, we're just trying to make just a little bit more total grip, but balance-wise, we're pretty sporty. Brian Campy, Cam Strader, all the guys in the Fastenal Chevy doing a great job for me. And you know, this is basically the same group of guys that I had in Montreal. So although our history is short, it's the same crew. And you know, Brian's got a pretty good handle on what it is that I need the car to do for me. So far, so good.
And I got a new number for you. The last lap, Marcus, was actually a 1:12.33. This one is probably a little bit faster. So hang in there. We know you can do well. Jamie?
And Kenny Wallace, he was fastest in his group, although he had a limited practice session yesterday. Didn't know what you have, but you told me you learned some things out there just now. What was it?
Well, you know, I've been coming here since 1991, and, you know, now we've got the restrictor plates, and we've got a great race team, but we only ran 9 laps yesterday to keep low mileage on the motor. And, you know, just going through that bus stop, you know, going through the inner chicane, 3rd lap, I hit my mark and learned a little bit. You know, you would think that after running here all these years that I would know it all, but I'm not a know-it-all. And even as good as my brother Rusty was, you know, times have changed with these restrictor plates, and you got to drive the car a little bit different. So I'm real happy with the U.S. Border Patrol car, and I think a matter of fact, basically, it was just 9 laps of practice yesterday, no qualifying run, and everything's good right now. Just got to stay on the asphalt.
Good qualifying run. Great finish last week in Iowa. Season best, 7th, Marty.
And we mentioned the fact 2 back-to-back top 10s, and Jason Leffler, he's 13th right now, 2nd fastest in this group, guys, doing exactly what he needs to do.
Just running solid laps and putting himself right there in the middle, staying on the track.
White flag.
Get a little information for the team.
Yeah, they have to be extremely happy with what they've done here. I think that they'll be really pleased with the lap that they laid down, and if he doesn't mess anything up from here, that's a little trying to get a little bit more out of it.
Well, if you're going to do that anywhere on the course, that's the safest place to test it. Going into turn 1, you have that asphalt over there to recover. You don't have to go out in the gravel or into the guardrails.
That's Michael Annett, currently 16th right now, and you see his lap time there. He just moved up to 15th with that lap, and we are on the final lap. 37 seconds left here in group number 5. Justin Allgaier moved up to the number 7 spot, right ahead of Jason Leffler, who had clocked in at 8th.
Yeah. Give a lot of credit to that crew with what they did with Jason Leffler's car.
A lot of hard work. I was over there in the garage area after practice yesterday, and they were really working hard getting that car ready to go.
Brendan Gaughan having a bit of a struggle. He's 18th right now out of the 28 cars that have taken times. Jason into turn 11. Can he improve on 8th right now? It's a little quicker.
Coming to the checkered.
Comes across the line and not quite good enough. It'll keep him in the 8th position, right behind Allgaier and Marcus Ambrose. And here comes Brendan Gaughan to wrap up the 5-car field, and no help for him on the final lap either. A minute 15.4 will keep him in the 18th position. And I'm sorry, I thought Brendan was last. It's going to be Michael Annett that's coming across. He's 15th right now. Can he improve? And the answer to that is no.
Actually ran a little faster time, but didn't move up any spots. Leaving him at 15th at a 74.91.
So 5 groups are down. And Jamie, let's talk to Marcus, see what he thought of that run.
Well, Marcus Ambrose checking things out. Only 2 laps for you, though, Marcos. Were you happy with the run?
Yeah, I won the race last year on fuel mileage, so we're just trying to save a bit of fuel there. And, you know, we gave him something to chase. It wasn't the perfect lap. I actually got my STP hat caught underneath the gas pedal, and brake pedal fell out from a little hiding spot under the seat. So.
You don't have a PR person that carries that around for you?
You know, I'm a one-man band. You know, I just do it on my own. But Jen does help me a lot. But, you know, some things... I mess up myself. But just really pleased for my team. You know, we're a part-time effort here just trying to win the race. You know, the nationwide team has gone back to a part-time schedule, and, you know, we've dragged guys off our cup deal, and guys have come in to help us out just for the weekend. I'm just really pleased that we're able to lay a good lap down for them, and hopefully it sticks.
What a great year it was last year when he won this race. We'll see if he can do it again later this afternoon, Marty.
Well, and it just shows you how well they have thought this race out. Thinking about fuel, we mentioned it. We'll be talking about it a lot during the race. Group 6 when we come back. Check the motorsports calendar one more time. The Nationwide Series race will be later today on ESPN2, 2:30 Eastern. And then Sprint Cup Series, we have happy hour today at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN2. And then the race from the Glen tomorrow, 1 Eastern over on ESPN. NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy. All you have to remember is 10 o'clock a.m. and p.m. on ESPN2. And then, presented by the Home Depot on Monday, it'll be NASCAR Now on the Roundtable, 5 Eastern. Allen and the gang on ESPN2. And let's check in again with Dave Burns.
Kyle Busch will lead Group 9, the final group of the day. That is because his car was fastest in the first practice session. So, Kyle, looking at the lineup behind you here, how hard are you going to press for the pole?
Well, we'd like to get a good starting spot, get up front, get good pit selection, but keep it on the track and get what we can, and then go race them later on today.
What do you think of the track temperature? We've been following it. It's remained fairly constant.
Yeah, it's gone up about 5 degrees or so. It isn't much, but you know, there's a nice little breeze here, so it's not bad. You know, the NOS Energy Drink Toyota was good yesterday. We worked on it, tried to make it better, and feels pretty decent. I don't think anybody's got anything for Marcus. That's a whale of a lap. So I'm hoping for a 72.90. That's still a half a second slower.
Cool temperatures, fast times. Jamie?
All right, Jason Leffler, as you talked about earlier, Dave, he went to a backup car after a hard hit yesterday. Only a 1/10 of a second off your time yesterday in the backup. How would you assess it?
Well, the guys did a great job. I mean, we didn't have this car on the pull-down machine where the last car was they had 12 hours on the pull-down machine. So they got it close in the garage there, and some parts of it actually drove better. I took it a little easy around the inner loop. I don't know why. I'm not scared of crashing. I'm just scared of running out of race cars. So we got to get it in the race. We did that, and we'll get after it here in the race. But the Great Clips camera's pretty decent.
Car is good. Body's a little sore. Jason Leffler, top 10 now. Marty.
Thank you, Jamie. As you heard, the cars going behind. Group 6 is now on the track with Brad Keselowski. There he is. And they are on the clock. Stephen Wallace, Dave Blaney, Joe Nemechek, and Boris Said. And we're going to get a real good idea just how good that Marcus Ambrose lap, because we've got some good guys in this group.
Yeah, Brad was the fastest of the nationwide regulars yesterday, even though that put him 16th because of all the double duty guys we have and road race specialists. See what he can do here this morning.
He and Stephen Wallace were 16th and 17th. That was the best of the nationwide regulars, as you pointed out, as the road course aces really came to the forefront. Right now, everybody's been looking. I was really interested in Kyle's comment. He's not convinced that he can even get close to Ambrose's time.
That's a great lap. I mean, we didn't see anything close to that yesterday. I mean, with Ron Fellows being fast, I mean, he was still in the 73-second bracket yesterday. So that's a big pickup. See the first lap for Brad Keselowski.
That's good enough to put him 5th overall right now. And there is Boris Said in turn 9, that big fast sweeper. And he's looking for a pole run. He's in the cup race for tomorrow. Boris is going to start 9th in that race. And we mentioned this yesterday if you were with us during our practice show. This car is not set up for Boris's 6'4" frame. His knees are up around his ears, but he's getting that car around the track. Here we go.
Yeah, he's our in-race reporter today, and he has some cameras inside. We'll be able to look at his footwork and things, so should be a fun day following Boris.
1360, that's
Jumps
in the
up
show.
to second spot on that.
Whoa.
Whoa. Keselowski's around.
I spun out in the carousel.
That is turn number 9.
Go out there to the right, turn it back around. I'll get you clear there. Just watch a mirror. Go ahead and roll.
Jason
turn right
Leffler
there.
had his problem
Turn right,
on around
loop it
this
around that
corner
way.
just a little bit yesterday, and so Brad was lucky to keep it out of the tire barrier.
That time for Boris said put him second. Let's go back and show you. Here he is in the bus stop chicane. Whoa, really clipping it.
Yeah, let's see how much he messes up his tires, though, as he does this. He's going to really lock them up. You see the car start to get loose.
That turn's going downhill a little bit too. It makes it hard to save the car once you start getting it, let it get out there that far.
Yeah, you can see it has some banking to it, but it doesn't really look like that much as you're exiting that part of the bus stop.
Our first look at Stephen Wallace. Stephen right now 14th overall. He's completed 2 laps. There you see his statistics as he's making his way up through the S's.
Boris said is second, but he is 1.3 seconds off the pole. He's got to pick up a lot. I'll tell you, that lap Marcus Ambrose laid down is a really fast lap. It's going to be hard to beat.
Stephen, as he heads through the bus stop chicane, has 6 Nationwide Series road course starts, 2 top 10 finishes, and he's had top 10 starts in his last 2 races. Trying to crack the top 10 here, though, is going to be hard for him.
Yeah, when he wants advice, though, he doesn't have to go very far. His dad was one of the best at road racing in the business.
I remember the year he was leading by 20 seconds, needed fuel, stopped, and still won by 11. Dave Blaney making his way towards turn number 10. We can tell you that the 09 of Boris said may have taken a page from Marcus Ambrose. He's going to stand on that lap. He has gotten out of the throttle, maybe saving fuel like Marcus told us, getting ready for the race.
Yeah, he only picked it up just a little bit on his second lap, so he saw that he wasn't going to challenge Marcus, so he said save that fuel and see what they can do whenever it comes race time.
You can see how important pit strategy is for this race because they're already working a pit strategy during qualifying.
Joe Nemechek wanted to be one of our double-duty drivers. Unfortunately, did not make the field for tomorrow's Cup race, so he'll be focusing totally on today's Nationwide Series event. Nemechek 10th overall, and now Brad Keselowski, who is 3rd behind Boris said at 1:13.6 seconds, trying to get the rhythm back.
Yeah, and one thing he needs to do too is make sure he doesn't have a flat spotted tire. Go ahead and run this lap and see if everything's okay. That way they wouldn't have to change tires and start in the rear.
Just ran a fast lap, put him up to 3rd spot, 73.65.
That tells you that the car and the tires are good.
We're on that lap.
Here's where he ran into his problem earlier. Whoa, a little
loose.
tail happy again.
Still loose. We've seen a couple of guys run a couple of laps and then kind of slow down, cool the tires, get themselves a really good opening. So let's see. Boris said looked like he's back on it. We thought that he was going to save his fuel, but he's wide open again.
Well, the clock has run out, so this would be Boris's last lap. See if he's able to do anything. He is flogging it through turn 11.
Looks like right now he's on a little better pace than what he was. Get around turn 11, used up a lot of track coming out of there.
He knows what he has to beat Marcus Ambrose, but he also
That's out the back here. Has P2, P3.
he picks it up quite a bit, 73.18. But he's worried about the guys going behind him. He's going to try to put down the best lap he can now, not knowing what they're going to do.
Brad Keselowski picked up his final lap too. He's still 3rd, but 73.53.
Boy, and you can see all the way down to Joe Nemechek, who is right now in the 10th position. So that is group number 6, and that means we have just 3 groups remaining, 15 cars. We can tell you Mike Wallace is locked in. Carl Edwards, of course, 2nd in the points. What will he do? David Reagan doing a little double duty this week, qualified 40th yesterday. And Jeff Burton, boy, what a year he had last year here. Want to remind you the Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen. Our coverage begins tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN with NASCAR Countdown presented by Degree V12. Championship leader Tony Stewart won 4 of the last 7 Watkins Glen Sprint Cup races. Does he do it again? Well, you'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out. We're getting ready for group number 7, but Dave, I think you've caught up with Robbie Gordon.
Yeah, I'm talking with his friend P.J. Jones right now, and I'm sure getting just a few more speed secrets before Group 9 takes off here in a little while. Marcus still has it, a 1:12.32, and I'm assuming you can do a little better than that?
A 1:12.32 or 1:14.32?
1:12.32.
That's pretty fast. So, you know, I think that'll probably that's going to be tough to beat. But we'll just do the best job we can. You know, qualifying's one thing and racing's the other. But you know, we look at him being one of the toughest guys out here to race when it comes time to race in the Nationwide Series and in the Cup Series for that matter. He's been doing a good job on the road courses.
Hey, can you tell me how comfortable you are with this car? I understand it's kind of like an old, well-fitting shoe.
This car is an old, well-fitting shoe, and it runs good. You know, for us to come out here and be as quick as we are, we basically just dusted it off, put a triad motor in it, and went for it. So I'm pretty happy where we're at.
All right, Robbie Gordon, he'll go out in just a few minutes. Jamie?
Well, we saw that little wild ride. He was laughing about it, but we can actually hear the air coming out. We've got a flat back here. What does that mean now, Brad?
Well, I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg. It doesn't have a flat spot on it, but it's definitely got a hole in it. So I don't know. It didn't quite drive the way I thought it was gonna, for sure. So I might have ran over something to begin with. I don't know. It's way low. So you know, we'll figure it out. But I enjoy running these road courses, and I was giving her all she had with this GoDaddy.com Chevrolet. But we'll keep digging. We'll get this right, and we'll run good here tonight.
It was good enough for third right now. But Andy, you mentioned if they have to change the tires, what exactly is going to happen?
Yeah, that's up to NASCAR's discretion, right, guys?
Yeah, they'll have to make a decision on what they do with that. That's the problem, though. When you run out of the racing groove, as far as he was over there completely out of the racing groove. There's all the stuff that gets thrown over there, parts and pieces that fall off cars. That's a risky place to be if you know, with the tire there.
And
as far as getting a flat tire.
Yeah, it can actually happen anywhere. These guys run off at all different parts. All you got to do is throw a rock up there, and that can puncture one of these tires.
Here's the 5 that are in Group 7. Carl Edwards, Brian Vickers, Ryan Newman, David Reagan, and Jeff Burton. You're looking right now at Carl Edwards, second in the points championship chase. As you can see, we are just into the first lap. And he's 1.4 seconds behind Marcus Ambrose's time.
Robbie Gordon thought we had it all wrong, didn't he, with that 1:12.32? I think
he couldn't believe that 1:12.32. That is an outstanding lap Marcus Ambrose put on the board.
Jeff Burton looking real good in this first lap run. He's the closest to that pole time that we've seen out of the 5 so far. Boy, he had an eventful race here last year. Spun on lap 2, had contact on lap 12, was the leader by lap 23, and then ran out of fuel while leading on lap 78. That's having a little bit of everything.
That's what road course racing will do for you. It's a lot of elements.
You can see as he's come on around the track that he's going to be a second and a half slower than Marcus Ambrose. So that you can see that Marcus really picked up speed when he got from the bus stop on.
Jeff right now slots in at the number 8 position, and Ryan Newman, who took over the ride this week after Mike Bliss was let go in that number 1 car
run.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's third already on his first lap, and boy, is he clipping the curb.
Carried a little extra speed into the chicane and clipped a little too much curb and cost him some time, but he was on a really fast lap up to that point.
Trying to get a lot out of it here. And I think we're going to see as these guys make a run at Marcus Ambrose that this is a part of the racetrack where Marcus really excelled, and he's going to make it difficult for these guys to beat him.
0.6 of a second behind right now. On the brake, back on the throttle, heading for turn 11. And now almost a second behind.
Yeah, Newman's got the 3rd fastest time right now. Brian Vickers in this group has the 4th quickest time.
Ryan Newman's a road racer. He won here in 05.
P3, P4 ahead of you.
So he knows how to get it done.
P4.
You heard him say he's in P4. That's because Brian Vickers managed to move into the number 2 spot and then got it crossed up in turn 1.
He's still on the throttle trying to get as much as he can out of this, but Vickers is up in that 2nd spot. That's still about 7/10 slower than what Marcus Ambrose ran.
But look at this, and this is what you were talking about, DJ. He's only 0.2 of a second off heading into the bus stop chicane, and watch how much it falls off. He's already almost 7/10 behind.
It's almost like he went straight through there, which he didn't, but it's amazing how much they lose from the very beginning of that till they get out of that bus stop area.
Gives you a great idea just how good Marcus was from the chicane all the way back through turn 11. That's David Reagan right now, and Reagan 24th. So that's with 2 laps in the books and 1 minute and 20 seconds still to go, but he's a second and a half behind.
Yeah, struggling a little bit. He was better than this in practice yesterday, but apparently the car not to his liking right now.
Well, he's going to start 40th tomorrow in the Cup race. Was not happy with his run there either. And now he's 1.7 seconds and going the wrong direction. Could actually still better his time. That gives you an idea how much room for improvement he really has.
Taking a white flag now. One more.
Yeah, he jumps up to the 12th position with that run.
And he still has 1 more lap before his session's over.
Carl Edwards. Right now, Carl 6th. He's run 3 laps. He's on his 4th, 1 minute 13.5. This would put him, if he stays on this course, about 5th or 6th, but there you go. I mean, we see that clock, and boy, Marcus was so good in that last back portion.
Yeah, and then we see a lot of them lose off of turn 11 there too. You can see Carl's up to the 4th spot here right now.
Checker flag is out for Carl Edwards. He moves into the number 4 position. 113.3. So he moves up 2, and that should make Jack smile a little. Come on, Jack, smile just a little. Oh, well,
he looked happy with that.
David Reagan. Reagan is 12th. And we're being told David is the last car in the group to complete the run here as he comes down. Will he crack into the top 10? And no, it's not going to happen. He'll stay in the 12th position. So it's Vickers 2nd, Edwards, Newman 4th and 5th, Jeff Burton 9th, and David Reagan in the 12th. We can tell you 2 guys have been put on the trailer, Scott Gaylord and Brett Rowe. And there you see Brian Vickers, now number 2, right behind Marcus Ambrose, but still by 7/10 of a second. That gives you an idea just how good Marcus's run really was. All right, we talked to Ron Fellows. He was sort of stunned also about that run, and that's when he won here before in the Nationwide Series. Can he do it again? Can he take the pole? Stay with us to find out. Okay. Back here at Watkins Glen, group number 8 getting ready to roll. Joey Logano will be first out, followed by Ron Fellows, Scott Speed, Paul Menard, and Justin Marks, a road course specialist, run the Grand Am Series. We'll talk more about him. Let's talk to the man who was fastest in that last group and 2nd overall. Brian Vickers is with Jamie Little.
Well, as crew chief Trent Owens looked pretty thrilled about that time. Is it because the temperature, or have you guys cranked on this thing and made it that much better?
Well, we had a really good car yesterday. We fought a lot of issues from throttle, brake, to transmission issues, to steering. It was a long day. I'm just glad the day was over. But the guys in the Dollar General Toyota did a great job. We had a really good car. I was only planning on running 2, and then Trent said, you can run a 3rd if you want. He shouldn't have said that, because I just went for it, and I know I just completely overdrove the car. But hey, you know, if the crew chief says you can run a 3rd, why not go get after it?
All right, hard work is paying off so far for the 32 team. Marty?
Thank you, Jamie. We mentioned the fact that 2 cars have already been sent home. And that's Scott Gaylord, Brett Rowe. A couple more could be going after this group, depending on what happens. As they begin to roll out, of course, they'll have their 1 warm-up lap, and that gives us a chance to talk about the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen with our coverage with Dr. Jerry Punch, Andy, and DJ and all the gang. It's tomorrow at 1 Eastern on ESPN with NASCAR Countdown, presented by Degree V12. Jimmy Johnson got the pole yesterday, and you had an interesting comment before we went on air. You still don't think that guy gets enough credit.
Well, no, I don't think Jimmy Johnson gets enough credit as a driver, and I think yesterday helped prove just how good a race driver he is. A lot of guys struggled, a lot of good drivers that we consider really good road racers struggled yesterday, and Jimmy Johnson went out and put his car on the pole. One of the few guys that picked up from practice, and he picked up about 3/10. So I think that, you know, we talk about how great a race team that is, and that's what's helped Jimmy Johnson win 3 championships. And certainly as a driver, you have to have that, but you have to get the job done behind the steering wheel and in that seat, and he gets it done.
And you can't say enough about the driver's input into the team. I mean, not to mention the driver's skill on the track, right. But it's a big part of getting the car set up, the driver's input, and so Jimmy Johnson a big part of that.
You saw Joey Logano come across the start-finish line to begin this 5-minute session, so he's on his first hot lap. He ran here, of course, last year in the Nationwide Series, started 20th and ended up finishing 7th in that race.
That's what he's here for today, is just get a little more experience to learn the racetrack and the tendency of the tires and what happens when you have to start letting off a little sooner as the brakes start fading, things like that.
Well, he's had 3 poles and 3 wins in 2009, 6 poles in his career as he makes his way through turn number 9. And about 0.6 of a second. And again, we'll keep pointing out that it's this back half where Marcus Ambrose was so much better than everybody else.
It's a really solid lap by Joey Logano, though. He's been really smooth and fast.
Ron Fellows, who sat on the pole here twice at the Glen back in '98 and '99. And he's about a second off. But look at this. Scott Speed only 0.2 of a second off of the pole of Marcus Ambrose. And here he starts to slide a little through. Yep, going to lose some time there.
Turn 10, a good lap, but still a good lap. Joey Logano clocked in the 4th quickest lap on his first one.
Coming down the straightaway, it looks like he's going to be close, but not quite close enough. Remember, this guy from Formula One has a lot of road racing experience, and he moves into the number 2 position. A minute 12, only the second car to break the minute 12 barrier, but he's 0.4 of a second behind.
That's in his first lap. That's pretty good.
Joey Logano through the bus stop chicane, only 0.3 of a second off.
Yeah, once again, we saw that he lost some time there and going through the bus stop. Marcus Ambrose just put down a terrific lap through that area of the track. See Logano fighting back, though, as he goes around turn 10.
And looks like Fellows has got some issues. I mean, he's 1.6 seconds off. In fact, right now is 10th after his first lap.
Well, he lost some time somewhere on this lap. He did clock in the 10th fastest lap the previous.
I have a feeling that he might have just been cooling things here once he made that mistake or got off a little bit to see what he can throw at him here on this next effort.
This will be his last shot here, or close to it. There comes the 99 off of turn 11.
See if he can improve this. Logano moved up to 3rd.
He is going to improve his time, but he's still not going to be able to get Ambrose, it doesn't look like.
Yeah. Minute 12.6. That's still 0.3 of a second off. And it looks like he's cooling down.
Yeah, he's going to come on in, save fuel, and not take any more chances.
So 2 good laps, but just not quite good enough.
I've listened to this 98 car. It has a funny sound when it comes by us here, like it's maybe something wrong with it.
It has, and he was fast yesterday.
Yeah,
he qualified 14th for the Cup race. This is going to be really disappointing.
Well, it sounds like it's on 7 cylinders.
He's run 2 laps, guys. He's 30th in this field at a minute 14.9. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Ron Fellows now is trying to get better his lap, and he is a little better.
He's heading for turn 10, but still 0.6 of a second off. Fellows right now 11th. He'll probably have time for 1 more lap if he wants to go for it.
Yeah, he is going to get 1 more if he elects to take it.
So he's going to be still a second. Slower than Marcus Ambrose. That moves him up to the 6th spot.
13-12. Good lap.
So right now, out of this 5-man group, 4 of them are in the top 10. Young Justin Marks, we mentioned he has a ton of road racing experience. SCCA World Challenge, sports cars, the American Le Mans Series. He's won in the 24 Hours of Daytona in his class. And right now, Marks 9th. The only guy that's not in the top 10 in this group is Paul Menard. Menard still 30th with problems.
Yeah, he's got a sick engine there. Something wrong. He's just trying to make some laps here to see if he, because he is a go or go home car. He has to make some kind of a lap here to try to get in.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's done that even with 7 cylinders.
Yeah, and until that last lap that he put down, he wasn't inside of that. So at least he was able to do that. Maybe it's a plug wire or something like that that they can fix.
And let's check and see what is going on with the 98 of Paul Menard as he's on his last lap through the bus stop and already 0.8 of a second behind.
Yeah, but he's still tracking to it for a lot faster lap.
Definitely. Well, he's figured out how he can go faster, you know, with that even less power. All these guys talk about not having horsepower, and now you're down what sounds like a cylinder. So he's trying to make the most of it. You can see he's clocking in around the 16th, 17th spot here.
Well, he's had 3 prior starts at the Glen. His best start was 6. He's not going to come close to that this year. His best finish was in 07 when he came across the stripe in 4th. Here he comes down the front straightaway. Checkered flag is in hand. And he's 1.9 seconds off, and he will stay and move into the 18th position. So as you said, DJ, he actually was able to improve, even though he's got an ailing car underneath him. So we're down to one more group, and there you can see everybody but Paul makes it into the top 10 out of Group A. Let's check in with Jamie.
And Scott Speed has never been to this racetrack. Gets in the car, second on the board right now. How did you adapt so quickly here?
It's a road course. It's easier for me than most ovals, honestly. But, you know, it was a solid run for sure. We did a lot of good work over the practices to get this thing better, because when we started, we certainly weren't that good. And it's hopefully going to get us, you know, starting towards the front, obviously, and you know, that's what you need for road course racing. So so far, all good.
Scott always has a good time when he comes to the nationwide side, and of course, he's getting some seat time so he can run better in the Cup tomorrow.
Nothing like seat time when you haven't been at a racetrack before. The final group, Kyle Busch. Can he turn in a lap and take away the pole? Greg Biffle, he's also looking to put forward on the front row, and Kevin Harvick has great experience on the road courses. Here at Watkins Glen, you can see the crew working on Paul Menard's car as they're trying to determine which cylinder was bad. I think they got their answer.
Yeah, they've got a water bottle they're pouring on the headers and each cylinder to see which one is cold.
What side did they change?
Here's the sizzle from a few cylinders there. They're going to try to isolate it. That one's hot.
2 for 2.
Where's your card at? I'll go grab mine.
Well, they're going to work on that. If we get an update on it, we'll certainly pass it along to you. And Jamie has caught up with Joey Logano.
He was hammered down. Very impressive run considering times yesterday from practice improved a lot. Second time here. What have you learned? How different are you from last year?
Night and day on this side for sure, on the nationwide side. So we'll see. I think I got a really good Mad Catz Toyota today. We'll see. Apparently, people from Australia are really fast at road courses, so I'll have to figure out what we got to do to beat Marcus today. So I don't know. You know, I'm just happy to be back in the nationwide car working with the 20 bunch again. They're a group of, you know, great group of guys, and hopefully get them a big W today.
How much is it helping you now? Your first time in the Cup car here at this track. How much will this seat time help you?
I know in qualifying yesterday, it actually hurt me. I ended up overdriving my Cup car a lot, so it is what it is. I think I'll learn a lot in the race, though. It's just tough going back and forth between car to car. It seemed tougher here than it usually is on an oval. So, but I'm sure I'll learn stuff today as far as racing and passing cars. So it'll be worth it.
All right, we'll see if the 20 can hang on to third spot, Marty.
Thank you, Jamie. As you heard behind Jamie, the last group is now out on the track on their warm-up lap. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Robbie Gordon, Greg Biffle, Kevin Harvick. Now, Robbie is a go-or-go-homer, and if you're Peyton Sellers, you're almost ready to pack your bags. The guys that are already going to be sent home, Haar, Baker, Gaylord, and Rowe. And one more to go. Peyton Sellers is the man on the bubble. Right behind the 18 is Denny Hamlin, last week's winner at Pocono.
It's his first week in the car. Scott Lagacy had been driving this car up until this week.
And he's had 4 prior starts in the Nationwide Series. He started 4th last year and came home in 12th in 06 for his best finish. And there is Robbie. Ran into him yesterday. He's actually going to be doing a different kind of double duty Labor Day weekend. He'll be running the Cup race in Atlanta, but then he's also going to be jetting back and forth up to Crandon, Wisconsin for the off-road race in the Torque Series up there, which we're going to be carrying on ABC Live. So it's going to be all Robbie all the time. Kyle Busch right now into 12th position with his first official lap and only 0.2 of a second off through the chicane.
Kevin Harvick has set the fastest lap of this group. He's the 3rd quickest in that first lap at a 72.83.
Well, we mentioned yesterday how good Kevin is, and you're right, he's third right now.
See, he's actually catching Greg Biffle in that 16 car right up in front of him.
Yeah, they were putting 4-second gaps between these cars, so he's made up a lot of ground on Biffle.
Well, Biffle, his first lap was a minute 14 versus Harvick's minute 12. In fact, Harvick now the fourth car to break into that minute 12 barrier.
Not sure if I would, Biffle, I wouldn't just back off and get behind him here and see if I can keep up.
This isn't a bad thing. You can pick up a little bit of a draft as long as he doesn't hold him up on this lap. He's able to get a little bit from that. Doesn't look like he's going to hold him up, I don't think.
Tracking about 0.3 of a second off. Biffle's going to give way to him as he comes out of turn 11. Comes across the line, and it moves him up to the third position ahead of Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch, sixth position right now, but look at this. He is on a very good pace, but can he maintain it?
He's trying to make a run at Marcus, but you can hear the tires squealing as he comes through that turn 9.
Yeah, he was a little wide there, but still going pretty good. This is an area that some people have been able to pick up on Marcus.
This is the closest.
Locks up that left front. That's what you don't want to do, because that'll mess you up for the race as well.
He's stopping now.
Yep, he took a shot at it, and it looks like Marcus Ambrose is going to dodge another bullet. Now, Marcus, it's a new track record. If nobody can break it, it will be a minute 12.32 seconds. The old mark was 0.2 slower, sent by Kurt Busch back in 07. White flag is out. Denny Hamlin, who is fourth right now make that third, because he just moved ahead of Kevin Harvick again.
And Robbie Gordon now sets the second fastest lap. He's only 0.3 off of Marcus Ambrose.
And that's bad news for Mr. Sellers, because he's going to be the last guy to go home.
Kevin Harvick just set the fast time right there.
Oh my!
Got the pole.
Harvick
72.29.
Holy cow! That is a fast lap.
Unbelievable. So we have broken the record twice here with runs by Marcus Ambrose, and now Kevin Harvick at a minute 12.29 seconds.
Good job.
It should not surprise us. Harvick has won here at the Glen and in Montreal, both of those in 2007. In 8 road course starts, his worst finish is 7th. The other 7 have been in the top 5.
And he did that on a little bit hotter racetrack. He had a little later draw here going in this last group. Marcus Ambrose able to run a few groups earlier.
And Greg Biffle looks like he's going to let it breathe, as he's going to end up 18th overall. So the 48 cars have taken their times, and the guys that are going to be going home are Peyton Sellers, Darrell Haar, Brad Baker, Scott Gaylord, Brett Rowe. Here are the guys that in Group 9 where they shake out. Everybody in the top 7 except for Greg Biffle. And Kyle's checking those tires because he knows he cooked them. So we've still got a lot of opportunities to talk to these guys about what now we'll see when it comes race time later this afternoon at 2:30. Stay with us. So Kevin Harvick picks up his first pole at Watkins Glen in his 6th Glen start in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and surprised literally all of us, because the track record was broken by Marcus Ambrose. That was the good news for him. The bad news is Harvick was 3/100ths of a second quicker. Jamie Little is with Kevin.
Kevin has a big smile on his face because his car is good on both sides. How did you make that happen right at the end?
Well, I embarrassed myself yesterday in our Cup car over there, and didn't want to do that today in our Copart Chevrolet. So just got to say thanks to all these guys. J.R. Fitzpatrick did a great job today, and all these Copart guys on this 33 car did a great job preparing the car and just making sure everything was right. I told them this is a race that we've been really competitive at in the past, and just needed to not make any mistakes.
You've never had a pole here. Now you got the pole position. How good do you expect this race car to be?
Well, I didn't expect it to be that fast in qualifying trim. I knew it would be fast, but I think race trim is probably a little bit better in qualifying trim.
Congratulations, Kevin Harvick. And Kevin, let me ask you real quick, you gonna start outside, inside?
I'll probably start inside.
Inside, all right, for the 33 Kevin Harvick 2007 winner here. Dave?
And I guess that means that Marcus Ambrose will get the outside then. Kevin has chosen the inside. He says, we'll see when we get out there. Marcus, how impressed were you with his lap after the one U-turn?
Well, we lost the pole there in the very last second, so it's pretty hard to take. I feel sick in the stomach right now, but congratulations to Kevin. I laid down a good lap for him, and he chased it down. But we've got a great car over there. We want to defend our title for STP. We're really excited about our chances. Would have been great to be on the pole, but you know, we've got to thank ourselves because we started about 2 seconds slow when we got here, and we've really improved the car, and we've made it a good piece.
Compared to last year, your development, the car's development, the crew, and even the day and how you're feeling, you won last year. Can you do it again?
Yeah, sure. I think I've got a better car than last year, no doubt. We saved some fuel there. We only did 2 laps, and I think that's going to help us too if it becomes a fuel mileage race. So we're going to go for it. I think we've got as good a chance as anybody out there.
All right, Marcus Ambrose, he'll start second today, guys.
This is going to be a fun race, I guarantee you. It's not oversell by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of talent on that track, a lot of speed, as we have just seen in qualifying, with the track record being broken twice. And remember, that record had held up since 2007 when Kurt Busch laid that number down. So, guys, as we look a little bit forward, we told everybody we'd be talking about tires and fuel. As we take a look at the grid, let's talk about who we really like out of these groups.
I really like Marcus Ambrose. He sounded confident right there in that interview. He saved some fuel. They're thinking about strategy. He's proven he can do it. I like Marcus.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick's going to be good. I think Robbie Gordon's going to have a good day. I think he may be the car to beat.
I was a little surprised that the fellow's only 10th quickest. As we mentioned Robbie Gordon, Jamie Little's caught up with him.
And he has his work cut out for him, driving his own car on both sides, shot to 3rd on the board. This car has quite a history. You've run, I think, every engine manufacturer, your Toyota today. How good is it?
The car's good. You know, this is the same car that we won Montreal with. Well, kind of won Montreal with. But, you know, it's last year the car, we qualified 2nd with this car. And, you know, this year I feel good about where we're at. You know, the Triad motor's running really good. My guys have worked really hard, you know, just doing a little fine-tuning stuff. So, you know, the biggest thing for us is we needed it not to rain so we can get all the cars in the show, and that's a big weekend for us. We got 2 Cup cars in the show and a nationwide car in the show, so it's a good place to start. Obviously, we can learn a lot more when we put more cars in the show, but to be 3rd, I'm pretty happy about that.
Robbie, so much on your plate. There's not another guy out there like you. Single car effort, doing both circuits. You're doing Cup and nationwide this weekend. How are you doing it, and how can you go out and perform and maybe win one of these things?
Well, just like we did today, we're just working hard. You know, it's about having good people around me, and actually we're a 2-car team this weekend in Cup, so that makes it a little easier because PJ can go work on a couple of things for us, and we can go work on a couple of other things, and hopefully combine the two and come up with a good race setup. As far as a nationwide car, that thing just every time we roll it out, doesn't matter what it looks like, it runs well.
Well, people will definitely be watching the 55 today. Dave Burns?
They might keep their eye on that 09 car, Boris said as well. He will start 9th today, Boris. So what do you expect in your close confines in that nationwide car today?
I mean, I think the Zaxby's car handles really good. I mean, you know, Robbie Benton tried to get me to come to the shop and get fitted properly, and I didn't because I lived in California. I was busy, but I'm in there pretty tight. But I think if the car's fast, like it seems like it's going to be, it won't matter till the race is over. And it's going to be a close race. A lot of guys are close. I think everyone's going to be chasing Marcus. I don't know if he got the pole or not, but it looked like he obliterated it.
Kevin Harvick beat him, if you can believe that. Harvick did that, and he'll start on the inside, and Marcus will start on the outside, I think.
Oh, well, it should be pretty exciting then.
It'll be exciting to watch you two with a foot cam, and we were talking earlier today. You said that was the most difficult part of the cramped quarters that you've got, and why is that?
I mean, just because it's so important here, that transition from on the brake to on the gas and your footwork, you know, and just that little millisecond to get on the gas, you know, costs you time here. So I just got to kind of adjust my driving style for that. And I've been getting better every time I go in the car. So, you know, hopefully it'll be perfect at the end of the race.
I think it'd be like, Marty, you or I stuffed into a go-kart for like a 4-year-old, but Boris can do it, I'm sure.
And Boris said like Brad Daugherty. Brad, of course, 7 feet. He's 6'4". There is our pole sitter, Kevin Harvick, getting ready to go cash in on the check as they'll present him. Let's take a look at the rest of our grid, pick it up with row number 6, and a mixed bag here. We've got some young guys that have not a lot of experience, in with some veterans.
Hey, you see J.R. Fitzpatrick there outside row number 8. That's another Kevin Harvick Incorporated car he was talking about just now, how he was proud of that team.
Yeah, Justin Marks there, actually the first guy that's not in the Cup race tomorrow also to get in the qualifying effort.
Let's move on down and pick up with row 11. You can see there's Stephen Wallace. Anybody else jump out at you, either from the positive or the negative?
Well, Paul Menard stands out to me. He's sitting there in that 12th row, and he qualified that car on 7 cylinders. Did a great job. Had to do that, too, because he had to make it on time.
Yeah, and a good job by Jason Leffler and his crew taking a car out there that hadn't been on the racetrack. He said yesterday it wasn't a very good car, so it looks like they made it a lot better than he anticipated.
A little bit further back, we'll pick up row 16, where Morgan Shepherd at age 67 going to race again at the Glen.
And there's an Earnhardt right there in the 18th row, Jeffrey Earnhardt.
And on through the rest of the field. There you see Sean Murphy, Ken Butler, and Mike Wallace. And we gave you the guys that were heading home as it was Sellers, Haar, Baker, Gaylord, and Rowe, the 5 that are on the trailer heading home. We'll wrap it up here at the Glen and get ready for our 2:30 start time later today with race number 22 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Let's check the calendar for the rest of the weekend, because our NASCAR Nationwide Series event here at the Watkins Glen will start at 2:30 Eastern on ESPN2, and then happy hour for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at 1:30 Eastern on ESPN2, and of course the race is tomorrow at 1 Eastern over on ESPN. NASCAR Now, presented by 5 Hour Energy, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2, and again at 10 p.m. Eastern. And then NASCAR Now, presented by the Home Depot, Monday at 5 Eastern ESPN2. And I've got to correct myself. Mike Massaro will be hosting, not Alan Bestwick. So my apologies, guys. And let's check in once again with Jamie Little. What's the ruling on the 88, Jamie?
Well, Marty, remember there was a hole punctured in the left rear of the 88 car. NASCAR decided, they said their rule is if you only change one tire, you maintain your qualifying position. He qualified 14th. They changed the left rear. He's good to go in that spot. Dave?
Amy, you'll remember that Paul Menard had motor issues. He's sitting in his Cup car now, ready for Cup practice. His Nationwide car had a stumbling issue, was running on 7 cylinders instead, is what I meant to say. Just talked to Paul. He believes it's going to end up being a spark plug or an ignition issue. He said we had full fuel pressure. The gauges all looked good, but he will have to start 23rd instead of in a car further up that was much better and a driver more capable than they were able to show. Jamie? Marty, back up to you.
All right, thank you. We'll take it. I'm looking at this qualifying, and one thing we need to point out, the pole is held by Chevrolet. The next 7 are all Toyotas. Should we read anything into that?
Toyotas are pretty strong, as we see that every week. But a good group of cars and drivers there all driving those Toyotas.
Well, you can see that we got the Cup cars getting ready to come up for their practice session. Now, let's talk about Marcus Ambrose, because he set the benchmark at 1:12.32 seconds. It was a new track record. Where's Tom Carnegie when I need that booming voice? And boy, this is where he was really good, DJ.
Yeah, sure was. Brad Keselowski also had a good lap.
Except right here.
Had a little problem. He loses control of the car and spins up off the racetrack, and that's where he got probably a piece of debris that cut that tire down, and they allowed him to change it.
Kyle Busch was going after the pole until this moment.
Yeah, heading into turn 10, locks up the brakes. You can see that left front tire smoking. Could have a little problem there.
And that brought us to Kevin Harvick. Now, he had traffic in front of him, and this was not the lap where he actually got the pole. It was his very last lap, but boy, he was hustling this car nicely.
And he was getting a lot out of it. These cars started 4 seconds apart. You can see he's already run down Greg Biffle.
He lowers the track record by another 3/100ths of a second, and there he is picking up the Coors Light Pole Award down in Victory Circle. So let's talk a little bit about what we can expect to see in this race. We've got the field set. What are we going to focus on?
Well, we see a lot of fast cars up there, a lot of good road racers, but it's really going to come down to strategy, and this place is really hard on equipment. Brakes especially. You've got these long straightaways where you go into these corners, and you got to really manage your brake systems and try to keep your brakes where you have them at the end where you need them.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is we see most of the drivers that we expect to be up there, they're up there, so they're just going to have to play their normal strategy kind of, and if everything kind of plays out, then we're going to see the best driver in car win this race today.
Let's talk about fuel too, because how do you save? You said it's so hard for a driver to save fuel here, DJ.
If you're going to run fast, it's almost impossible because you have to attack this place. If you start trying to save fuel, then your lap times are going to go down and you're not going to be able to keep up. So makes it difficult difficult. The one time that you can do it, being really careful under cautions, things like that, really utilizing that time and making the most of it.
Let's talk about one more key factor. Double file restarts.
Yeah, we're going to have that all day long, and we've never done that here at Watkins Glen, and it's going to be exciting. Road course racing has always been single file restarts. Double them up here is going to really make it fun.
Yeah, you think that maybe turn 1, that's going to be exciting, but there's a lot of runoff room down there. They can actually get 2, 3, and maybe 4 wide. They have to start narrowing down as you get to turn 2. So I think turn 2 and then up through the S's, that's going to be the most exciting part of that, and it will be exciting, I'll assure you.
The S's are really critical because, I mean, you drive through there, even in a passenger car, it's very claustrophobic because all of that Armco. All right, you can see that Sprint Cup is getting ready to go out for practice. We'll have final practice just a little bit later today, and we've got Nationwide Series after that practice at 1:30 at 2:30 Eastern right here on ESPN2. We'll have our race on the Nationwide Series with the Glen, with the Sprint Cup tomorrow at 1 Eastern. Up next, Bassmasters Elite Series. Congratulations to Kevin Harvick. I'm Marty Reed for our ESPN crew. Till we meet again.